Hello, this is Eileen, the environmental educator, and in this video, we're going to talk about something that's, it's really appalling. The Secretary of Energy was out on a road trip to promote green energy, but her and her entourage couldn't find enough electric vehicle chargers. So what they did was they blocked a charging station with a gas-powered car to reserve it. So when the Secretary of Energy got to the charging station, it was available for the Secretary of Energy, who was traveling with 3 electric vehicles, her, somebody else, and an NPR, propaganda crew. And her security detail, of course, was in gas-powered cars. Her advance team was in gas-powered cars, but the secretary and these 2 other cars were electric vehicles, and they're out promoting this absolute ridiculousness. But they blocked a charging station from the public so that it was available because, oh my God, the Secretary of Energy, she has Secret Service protection, a cabinet member. Why do cabinet members have Secret Service protection? How much money doesn't America not have that everybody and their brother gets? Bobby Kennedy just said that John Bolton, who hasn't worked for the government for years, still has Secret Service protection. That's our not tax dollars debt. But, it's not just that this was held for the Secretary of Energy and that, it held up this one family that had an infant and it was a really hot day. But let me tell you, federal employees, okay, these people that work for national public servants and even, state public servants as high as the governor's office or just even town and county workers, man, oh man, they throw their weight around. They know they have the power of the government, public servants behind them, and they throw their weight around. I've, encountered a few public servants, and you don't question them. You get their staffers who get in your way and in your face and tell you to go away. And every single bit of treason, when you are destroying America, it's not just selling secrets, okay? Treason to me is when you are an active participant in the death of America, when you're destroying the Constitution, when you're currency collapsing the debt, collapsing the currency in debt, when you are just ignoring the will of the people, invading it is all treason. And every bit of the treason that happens at all levels of government happen because of staffers, okay? Because staffers are out there throwing their weight around. These staffers had the weight of the Secretary of Energy, and they threw it around. And unfortunately, as it turns out, in Georgia where this happened, it's not illegal to block an EV charging spot, even though these articles I'm going to show you say that there's only 3 spots for every 10,000 Americans, I believe. Now here she is, an absolute, has to be a radical communist, part of the regime, Secretary of Energy Jennifer Granholm, and she obviously knows nothing about the environment, doesn't know anything about real solutions, is just out promoting this fantasy of beyond abusive electric vehicles, where it's not just the charging stations that are the problem, that, they say, we've got growth to do with this issue here. Hey, replace your battery. I saw a bill for an electric car battery to be replaced, and it was like $28,000, something like that. And it was like $1,200 just for the worker to put it in. Okay? Okay. So these electric vehicles are nothing for us. What do we need? Oh, that's right. What Henry Ford created way back when. Hemp. How about that? How about just increasing fuel frequency? How about that? But we're not going to do that because we have these communists in charge and they're throwing ridiculous at you. But here she was out, and her team were out to promote electric vehicles. They ran into a predictable yet frustrating obstacle, the lack of chargers. Right here it says there's only 3 vehicle charging ports for every 10,000 people in the U.S., according to Insider. And so a caravan of electric vehicles heading from Charlotte to Memphis over the course of 4 days hit a snag in Georgia. They were planning a quick charge when they realized there wasn't enough vehicle chargers to go around since one was broken and the others were in use. So an employee, a thug, one of Jennifer's thugs who throws the power of the government around, happy to be a Nazi, from the Department of Energy, tried to save one of the spots using a gas-powered vehicle. And it was a sweltering day. It didn't go over well with a family that was waiting for a charging spot. And, they had a baby in their car. They called the police, but they said they didn't have the authority to act because blocking an EV charging spot with a gas-powered vehicle isn't illegal in Georgia. So, but her team, they're such good people. They worked to smooth things over. I guess that was nice of them. It was at their choice. And they, of course, could have done what, the government and federal employees do, which is let peon, master, just shut up or we'll throw federal weight at you. Believe me, I've had it thrown at me. And they say they ultimately ceded a spot to the family and regulating some of their own vehicles to slower charging ports. But, yeah, okay. Some of these other vehicles make it sound like they sent other people to charging ports because this caravan was moving together. Now, right, this caravan of advanced vehicles that are gas vehicles, security vehicles that are gas vehicles, and then just a few showpiece cars here. So all of these articles here, they all basically say the same thing. But here she is. She showed up in this electric truck here, right? A huge, massive truck. Lots of materials, lots of components, lots of natural resources. It could have been just a two-car truck. It could have been a smaller truck. It could have been something definitely more sustainable. But no, she's out here in this big abusive truck, being a communist, acting like she's all good because they're powering their cars from fossil fuel powered electricity. Okay. And of course she's not telling you that, but she's looking like a saint here trying to, when all the way around this whole thing, even these electric vehicles are abusive. They're massive. Okay. That is so much, more toxins, chemicals, tires, wear and tear, just everything. The bigger the car, the more it takes to build it and maintain it. Okay, she doesn't have to be in that big, huge monstrosity, but of course, having no environmental knowledge whatsoever, that's what gets you to be the Secretary of Energy. She's out there just embarrassing herself, basically. Yeah, right here, this article says, the Department of Energy staffers scrambled to fix the situation by redirecting several vehicles so the secretary and the family's car were able to charge simultaneously. Now, they don't say what vehicles this was here. They didn't say it was the other vehicles in the convoy. This makes it sound like other vehicles that were at the charging station were basically told by the power of the federal government, you go over there to a slower spot because we have Chief Nazi here, but part of her tour for here was promoting the historic Investing in America agenda, where over $7 billion to build out convenient and reliable charging infrastructure, a portion of which is already awarded to every state. DC and Puerto Rico. We're giving it to Puerto Rico. They don't pay taxes. What are we giving it to Puerto Rico for? Because we have so much money? We're in currency collapsing debt. The biggest expenditure of the United States government right now is interest on the debt. We don't have money to be giving to Puerto Rico. And what are we spending $7 billion for? You know what drives innovation? Is the free market. And if the free market wanted electric vehicles, then the free market would be providing chargers for them. The fact that the government has anything to do with this just shows that this is beyond ridiculous. And I guess there's a term, it sounds like icing is the term for holding up an electric vehicle spot. They say that, the family was so upset by the display of the governmental icing that they called the police. And at the bottom here, it says that, even though charging isn't super easy, that doesn't mean icing is a solution. So I've never heard that term before, but it seems to me that's what it means. And this article here is basically this Petroleum Institute, Mike Summers, discusses that what we really need is your own choice. And, what we really need is actual real solutions. Power. Okay. That's what we need is actual real solutions. Like, what's the matter with hemp? What's the matter with making gas-powered vehicles way more efficient? Their efficiency hasn't improved in decades. Look at how fast phone and computer efficiency has just, keep falling all over itself. And gas-powered vehicles can't do that. They can do that. And this Electric Tech article here, it ends down at the bottom. It's all really the same information in all these articles, but it ends saying that, if anything, the road trip being difficult is a good way to show that we need White House investment in the sector to support the growth of electric vehicles in the U.S. If you're going to do that, you can't cheat by blocking charging stations, but we don't need. The White House investment is government money. And where does government money always end up doing? Just being basically burned. Okay, this $7 billion into charging stations when less and less people are buying electric cars isn't doing anything. And who's going to buy an electric car when it costs you $28,000 to replace its battery? You're not. People aren't going to. This is all ridiculous. But what is more ridiculous is the absolute staffers here, who, like all federal staffers and state and county and even town staffers, throw the weight of the government and the policemen they have standing behind them at citizens who are their masters. Okay? These people have forgotten their place in this world, and mostly because Americans have let them. And all of that needs to change. And this fool needs to just go ride into the sunset somewhere. No one ever needs to see her. We need actual, real leadership, but no one will allow it. Nobody on the right side, nobody on the left side. So we have all of this ridiculous, and then we have the might of the federal government employees working for their master, not the people, the person they bow to. A communist collapsing America. So stay tuned, people.